East Coast Pete here. Have a look at CARCUS. They are an extreme metal band from Liverpool, formed in '85. Bill Steer and Jeff Walker are the constants. They broke up in '96 and reformed in 2007 with a new lineup, but have consistently been a gore grind band, also known as splatter death and hard gore, with gruesome sleeve art and lyrics. They've also been seen as melodic death metal. The band's lyrics focus surprisingly on animal rights. Walker and Steer are vegetarians. Walker was also once a hunt saboteur, interfering with sports hunters, and that sounds dangerous. Jeff Walker had been guitar vocalist for Electro Hippies. Bill Steer replaced Justin Broderick in Napalm Death. CARCUS was known as Disattack. Ken Owen joined on drums, and the band's name and musical direction changed, becoming CARCUS. The first album, Reek of Putrefaction, in 1988 was a disappointment to the band, but John Peel liked it and featured it on Radio 1 in Britain. This led to a new demo, more in line with what the trio wanted to express. And the second album, Symphonies of Sickness, went in 1989 with much improved production quality. The second guitarist, Mike Arnott, joined. He had been with Carnage. Third album, Necrocism, Decanting the Insalubrious, went in '91 with more intricate composition and improved musicianship. Arno would handle leads and Steer would do all the rhythm guitar parts. It occurs to me that with the advent of current day heavy metal bands, the rhythm guitarist has taken the front seat in terms of recognition and worth. I mean, you get a couple of leads every now and then, but the balls is in the rhythm, right? Well, anyhow, Europe and US tours began, and the EP Tools of the Trade was brought along with the other albums. This was the Gods of Grind tour with Cathedral, Entombed, and Confessor. Gore Grind is a fusion of grindcore and death metal with watery sounding vocals. It's like gargling, I think. Grindcore is simply a fusion of heavy metal and hardcore, and hardcore is brutal punk. And that's how that goes. The fourth album, Heartwork, is a radical change. Deep, gory lyrics were gone. Song structures were simplified. CARCUS signed with Columbia. Ahmet left, replaced by Mike Hickey, who was soon replaced by Carlo Regatas. CARCUS was going mainstream. They even made a single with Jork called Hyper Ballad Isabel. Hard for me to imagine Jork as a mainstream artist. But times have changed. CARCUS needed to make a living. This is what led to the disbanding in '96. And the last album was fittingly named Swan Song. Just hold on a sec. Just hold on a sec. Yeah, Swan Song sold well, even without touring. Wake Up and Smell the Carcass was a posthumous release put out by Earache Records. A video was made without the band's knowledge. It was made up from early footage from the Gods of Grind tour. The sound was raw and unmixed, but their contract was such that Earache could do what they wanted, even though the present Carcass was nothing like the former band. Owen, Walker, and Your Goddess continued as Black Star, but Owen suffered a cerebral hemorrhage. Steer Ford, hard rock band Spiritual Beggars, and Swedish death metal band Arch Enemy. He also began a blues rock side project called Firebird. Time went by. In 2007, Mike Ahmet announced that he was rehearsing with Bill Steer. Owen survived, but his heavy drumming days were over. It was quit or die, is what they told him. Daniel Erlandson was the new drummer for the Carcass reunion, which began at Wacken in 2007. Owen made a brief appearance playing a drum solo, to the surprise of all. The Earache back catalog was released in its entirety in 2012. Ahmet and Erlandson left to focus on Arch Enemy. Steer and Walker released a new studio album titled Surgical Steel in 2013, with drummer Dan Wilding of Trigger the Bloodshed. Owen also contributed some backing vocals. Van Ash joined as second guitarist, but left in 2018, replaced by American guitarist Tom Draper, ex-Angel Witch. Seventh studio, Turn Arteries, is set. No, it's not Turn Arteries, it's Torn Arteries. It makes more sense. Is set to be released on August 7th in 2020. Are your mouths watering? Got some Listerine for that. Friend star Phoebe Lisa Kudrow mentioned in the show Friends that she liked Carcass because it lined up with her vegetarianism. So, what about vegetarianism? Well, they are health-conscious people who care that animals have been reduced to shmoo-like slavery status, horrifically farmed and sold directly from the chopping block to a dinner table near you. Sometimes religion is given as a reason for vegetarian and vegan diets, to improve karma and to seek a peaceful coexistence in harmony with the environment. Seems more sensible than dealing with carbon footprints and global warming, which I will believe when I see it. Making diet and the environment political issues is kind of shameful. So cut it out. Live and let live is what I say. You are commanded. See you next time.